Hello there, and welcome. Please sit down and make yourself comfortable. My name is Calliope, and I'm going to be administering your test today. How are you feeling today? A little nervous? I see. Well, I hope that I can put your mind at ease. This test is not very difficult, but it will take a little bit of time. But there shouldn't be anything that should give you too much anxiety. However, if at any point you need me to repeat a question, if you maybe need to come back to something, depending on the question, we would be able to do that, okay? Alright, so this is certainly at your pace. There are some things that you'll need to remember and I'll ask you about later, but other than that, it should go pretty smoothly. Okay? Alrighty. Do you have any questions before we begin? Right, so we are testing your cognition and your memory today. So these tests can be used for people that have brain injuries, people that have dementia, ADHD even. So we are just getting a gauge if there is any impairment to your cognition or any level of memory, executive function, spatial thinking, that sort of thing. Okay? Alrighty, so would you mind just confirming your name and date of birth for me? Okay. Excellent, and that would make you how old? Okay, and is that your preferred name, and how do you like to be addressed? Wonderful. And you are alert, and you seem to be pretty oriented so far. And would you just remind me of your highest level of completed education? Okay, excellent. Thank you. So first we're going to start with the St. Louis University Mental Status Examination, okay? So this will be pretty involved in that I'll ask you about some math questions, I'll ask you to remember some things, I'll tell you a little story and ask you questions about it, okay? It should be pretty relaxed though. So let's just go ahead and get into it. Firstly, what day of the week is it? Okay, and what is the year? Wonderful. And what state are we in? Very good. So we are oriented to time, place, and person. So I'm going to have you remember a list of objects for me. And I will ask you about these objects at a later point, okay? So I'm going to repeat them a few times for you. Apple, pen, tie, house, car. Okay? Apple, pen, tie, house, car. Apple, pen, tie, house, car. Okay? Right. Now let me ask you a little math question. You have $100. You go to the store and you buy a dozen apples for $3 and a tricycle for $20. How much did you spend? Okay. And how much money do you have left? Good. Now, I want you to please name as many animals as you can in 1 minute. All right? So, on my mark, I'll tell you when to start naming as many animals as you can. Right? Ready? And go. Just keep going. Just be counting along. Keep going, as many as you can. Good, and you can go ahead and stop. So we had quite a few animals there. You really know your animals. I know sometimes it's a little awkward in the middle there where you think you're on a roll, and you sort of blank and think about, wait a second, what animals do I know? You did very good there. Okay, so do you happen to remember the list of objects that I gave you earlier, just a few minutes ago? Apple, pen, tie, house, and car. Very good. Okay. So you don't have to remember those anymore. They won't come back up. I'm going to recite a series of numbers for you, and I want you to say them backwards. So for example, if I say the name or the number 42, I want you to say 24. Okay? So if I say the number 87, what would you say? 78. Good. And if I said the number 648, what would you say? 846. Good. And if I said the number 8,537, what would you say? 8,537. What would that number be backwards? Good. 7,358. Very good. I would find that one a little tricky as well, so don't feel bad if you needed to think about it for a few moments. So I am going to bring out a little worksheet. I have quite a few worksheets, actually. Okay. And for this first test, I'm just going to fold this page over. This particular worksheet has two sides to it. Okay. Now we're going to focus on this circle right here. So with this circle, I want you to draw a clock face for me, and then I want you to draw the time 11 or 10 minutes rather to 11. So you'll draw the clock face, and then you'll put the number hands at 10 minutes to 11. Okay? Could you do that for me? Right here on our little circle here. Good, and if you could put the number hands at 10 minutes to 11. Okay, you finished? Alrighty, that looks pretty good. Okay, I am quite pleased with that. So in a moment, we will need our other worksheet. Let me just set that to the side. We'll grab our assessment page. Excellent. So now let's go ahead and take a look at this page. Okay? There are 3 different shapes here. I want you to take my pen and I want you to put an X in the triangle. Okay? So I will put that on my clipboard. And if you could put an X in the triangle for me. Okay? Very good. So we have the triangle right here. Now if you could just tell me which of these shapes is the largest. Which shape is the biggest? If you could just point it out to me. Very good, right here, our big square, that is our biggest shape. Excellent. Wonderful. So now I'm going to tell you a little story, and I want you to focus hard on the words that I'm saying. Focus on listening to the story, and I will ask you a few questions about it afterwards, okay? All right. Let me know if you need me to read it slower. I'm only going to read it one time, but if you need me to slow down, just let me know. Okay? Jill was a very successful stockbroker. She made a lot of money on the stock market. She then met Jack, a devastatingly handsome man. She married him and had 3 children. They lived in Chicago. She then stopped work and stayed home to bring up her children. When they were teenagers, she went back to work. She and Jack lived happily ever after. Okay? I'm going to ask you a few questions. First question, What was the woman's name? Good, her name was Jill. And second question, when did she go back to work? Yes, after her kids were teenagers. Okay. Third question, what kind of work did she do? She was a stockbroker. Good. And what state did she live in? Yes, that one's a little tricky. So the story said that she lives in Chicago. And what state is Chicago in? It's in Illinois. Good. Okay. So that was our St. Louis University Mental Status Examination. Now we're going to move on to the Benton Visual Retention Test. So I've got a few worksheets for this test. So what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to show you a design. It's an abstract design. I'm going to show you it for 10 seconds, and then we're going to wait about 15 seconds before I show you a number of designs. And you need to tell me which one is the most similar to the design that I originally showed you. Okay? So I'm going to show you a design. You can look at it as much as you want. I'll show you this for 10 seconds. Okay, and then we are going to wait for 15 seconds before I show you the options. Okay? Good. Now I have 4 possible designs here, and I want you to pick from these and tell me which one is the most similar to the design that I showed you before. Take a look at these carefully and tell me which one you think looks most like the one that I showed you. We have A, B, C, and D. Which one looks the most like the design that I showed you? B. Very good. So that's our first worksheet. Now let's move on to the second one. I'm going to show you the design for 10 seconds, and then we're going to wait a little bit before you tell me which design looks most like this one. Okay. Now we wait. Good. Now, if you could look through these designs and tell me which one of them looks most like the design that I had showed you. Which one of these looks the most like the original? A, B, C, or D? Good. We have C right here. And then we have one last worksheet for this test. I'm going to show you the design. 10 seconds. Mississippi, 14 Mississippi, and 15 seconds have passed. Now, could you tell me which of these images looks the most like the design I had showed you? A, B, C, and D. Which of these designs looks the most like the design I originally had shown you? Which of these papers, or images rather, looks the most like the original design? Very good. That would be letter B right here. So that was the Benton Visual Retention Test. Now we are going to go in with the Memory Impairment Screening. So what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to show you a paper, and it has 4 words on it. I'm going to have you read the words for me, and then I'm going to ask you some questions about the words. are the words. Could you read these words for me? Checkers, saucer, telegram, red cross. Very good. Now I'm going to ask you about the categories of these words. Each word belongs to a specific category. So if I were to ask, which word is the dish? What word would that be? Which of these words is a dish? Saucer. Very good. And which of these words is an organization? Red cross. Very good. And which of these words is a game? Checkers. Very good. And which of these words is a message? Telegram. Very good. Now, I am going to have you remember those words in a few minutes, okay? So while we are waiting to recall those words, we're going to do a few different distracting tests. And these will also help me determine your level of cognition as well. So first, could you spell the word world backwards? The word world, as in the entire world. Could you spell that word backwards for me? T L R O W. Good. And now we're going to do a test called serial sevens. And serial sevens is where you take the number 100 and you subtract 7 from that, and then you subtract 7 again and 7 again, and you keep going until I tell you to stop. Okay? So, what is 100 minus 7? 93. Good. And what is 93 minus 7? 86. Good. And what is 86 minus 7? 79. Very good. And what is 79 minus 7? 72. Excellent. What is 72 minus 7? 65. Very good. So for our last little distracting test, I want you to count to 20 forwards, and then we'll count to 0 backwards. So from 0 to 20, and then 20 down to 0. Okay? All right, so yeah. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Good. And now if you could count backwards from 20 to 0. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Very good. Excellent. So now we are going to try a free recall, okay? So do you recall the words that I had you read earlier? I had you read and repeat, and I asked you some questions about them. Just take your time. Okay, well, we can go to cued recall, and I will give you the category, and hopefully that will jog your memory a little. Okay? Alrighty, so which word was the game? Checkers. And which one was the dish? Saucer. Which one was the message? Telegram. And which one was the organization? Okay, very good. So we're doing great for the cued recall. But free recall was a little fuzzy. So last thing we're going to do is we are going to get out some cards. I have some cards that have numbers on them. Some have shapes. And I also have some colors. And I just want you to listen to my instructions for each test. And they might be, what is this color? What was the color before this color? What was the first color I asked about? Or about the shapes or about the numbers, okay? So let's go ahead and start with our colors here. I'm going to hold up a color, and I want you to tell me what color it is. What color is this? Red. What color is this? Kind of yellow, yep. What about this? What color is this? Blue. And what about this color? Yep, it's a purple. And what about this color? Yep, that's also a purple. And what about this one? Blue. And what about this color? It's pink. And what about this color? Red. And this color? Pink. And this color? Kind of a hot pink. And what about this color? Yeah, teal. I'll accept teal. Okay, what about this one? We have another hot pink, yep. Okay, this color? Yellow. And what about this color? Teal, very good. So do you recall the first color that I asked you? Was the red? Good. And what was the second to last color that I asked you? Yellow. Very good. Let's put these to the side. And then let's grab our shape cards. So I want you to tell me what the shape is, not what the color is, okay? What is the shape? Hexagon. What about the shape? Rectangle. The shape? Pentagon. The shape? Triangle. Good. What about the shape? Square. The shape? Diamond, yeah. The shape? Circle. And the shape? Parallelogram. Good. Now, do you recall what the very first shape I asked you about was? Okay, that was the hexagon. Do you remember the second shape that I asked you about? Okay, and that was the rectangle. Yep. So let me just mix these up real quick. And I am going to have you name the color in the shape as fast as you can, okay? Green, red, blue, purple, good, brown, yellow, kind of dark blue, yep, and orange. Very good. Okay, and do you remember that first color I asked you about? It was green. Very good. Excellent. And last one, let's get out the number cards. So I will just have you look at the number and tell me what number you see. 7, 8, 3, 4, 2, 6, 0, 9. Very good. What were the very first two numbers? Yep, 7 and 8. Very good. And do you remember the last two numbers? 0 and 9. Excellent. Okay, let's do that one more time, but this time I'm going to have you try to memorize. Okay, so I'll give you a set of 5 numbers, and I will have you try to memorize that. Okay? 7, 2, 6, 0, 8. Okay, so what was that string of numbers? 7, 2, 6, 0, 8. Very good. Okay. Let me just write that down. Okay, very good. So I think that is going to conclude our cognitive testing for today. Do you have any questions at all about the test? Yes, you did do very well. It was just on the cued recall. There was a bit of an issue there with remembering, but we did do a lot of those different distracting tests. But otherwise, you did quite well. So we will score this out and we'll see how that measures, and then we will give you a call and let you know what the next steps are, okay? All right, any other questions? Very good, okay. So thank you so much for participating in this cognitive testing today. I really appreciate it, and it was a pleasure working with you. I hope you have a whale of a day and a good rest of your night. Thank you.